Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 16 player props to bet. It's been fun riding with you guys this year. We got 3 more weeks of the regular season. Let's get this money. First prop, we're going DTR under 197.5 passing yards. I get it. That's about as low as they get in terms of quarterbacks. But I have to say, DTR is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen, and we won money betting his games last year, and I don't know how we did it. You look at the Browns, they can't protect. I know the matchup is against the Bengals, so you think, okay, this could turn into a shootout. Hell, maybe this even turns into a blowout. Free yards for DTR, right? I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever seen a worse quarterback than him in this league. And he's athletic. He's going to try to run it. If you want to bet his overs, maybe look at his rush yards. But in terms of him throwing the rock, I'm going under the 197.5. Nuts prop. We got him last week. We got Aaron, the game Rodgers, over 242.5 passing yards. I get it. It's creeping up. When we started betting A-Rod, it was at like 220, 230. Now we're up to 242.5. I don't think they're going to be able to run it against the Rams. And yes, the Rams do have a good pass rush, and their secondary has played good. But this secondary is very young, and we're seeing a different Rodgers the last few weeks. I'm not going to talk about the arm. I'm not going to talk about the accuracy. But the difference we've seen the last few weeks out of Aaron the Game Rodgers is the mobility. I think that helps. I think he makes big plays. And I know it's a December week 16 game in the Meadowlands. It's going to be like 28, 27 degrees. I still think this game has an opportunity to turn into a shootout. So I feel like we got to have something in this game. Give me Rodgers over 242.5 passing yards. Nuts prop. We got Rico Dowdle under 72.5 rush yards. I absolutely love this. And listen, you can do a lot of things against this Bucs defense. You certainly can throw it on them. But one thing you can't do against this Bucs defense is run the rock. And this Cowboys offensive line isn't very good. It's been cute. It's been an interesting storyline watching them run the ball well the last 4 or 5 weeks. But I think that comes to an end. I don't need to get too much into the X's and O's. You guys already know this. We don't need to overthink it. You just can't run the ball against the Buccaneers. I'm going under 72.5 rush yards. I feel like this is way too high for Dowdle, and he's been playing brilliant. Next prop, we got Pat Mahomes under 243.5 passing yards. Listen, when I saw this earlier in the week, it was like 224, 228. Now we're up to 243.5 passing yards, and man, I'm going under. I love this Texans defense. I think their pass rush is top 5 in the league. You got Pat Mahomes on a high ankle sprain, and maybe the injury's exaggerated, but he hasn't been mobile the last 3 weeks. He's taking more hits than ever, and the left side of the offensive line has been a complete joke at pass blocking. I think he gets hit a lot. I think he's going to be under duress. I think this is going to be another ugly Chiefs game, another ugly offensive performance. I'm going under the 243.5 passing yards. I also really like this Texan secondary. I know they've had bad performances like second half against the Jags, second half against the Titans, but I do think they'll rise to the top, and I do expect D'Amico to have something in this game. Give me Pat Mahomes under 243.5. I also like the Stroud over 233.5 pass yards. And I guess that's the next prop. I just kind of rolled into it since we're on this game. And a lot of this is due to, firstly, Chris Jones. Is this interior offensive line of the Texans going to be able to block him? Are we going to be able to get Mixon going? I'm guessing not. I don't think Mixon's going to be a complete non-factor, but I don't think he's going to have his normal stats like 70, 85 rushing yards where he gets 2 touchdowns. So I think this game is on Stroud's right shoulder, and I think he rises to the challenge. And like I've been telling you guys all year, this Chiefs defense just isn't all that great, especially in the secondary. Outside of Chris Jones, there's no pass rush. Outside of McDuffie, there's no one that can cover. Their safeties can't cover anyone. I think this is a Stroud game. I'm going over 233.5 pass yards. And then we're rolling into the next prop. And I wanted to get Menchie in this game. I feel like he's transitioned into a slot option for Stroud, but he's going to miss this game. So I'm going to go Dalton Schultz. I feel like I think the easy option is to go Nico, but his props are pretty high, and we do think McDuffie's going to be on him. So I'm going to go Dalton Schultz over 33.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to be working over the middle. I think he's going to get a lot of favorable coverage, and I've been just unimpressed with Dalton this whole year. But I do think this is a game for him to shine. Give me Dalton Schultz over 33.5 receiving yards. Next prop, we got James Conner over 84.5 rushing yards. You say the Panthers. I say, you get the other running back on the opposing team and you bet the over props. Rather simple, not a lot of science. The Cardinals need to get Conner going. This Cardinals offense just doesn't click when he isn't going. And you look at this Panthers front seven, they're fighting, man, but there's too many injuries up front. There's not enough talent. There's UPS guys sliding in at defensive tackle and inside linebacker. I'm going James Conner over 84.5 rushing yards. I get it. Like 84.5 is an atrocious number to go over for a running back in 2024. But I think we have to hit this. I'm going over the 84.5. Next prop, we got Sam Laporta over 41.5 receiving yards. Listen, I feel like we got to get something in this game. We have a high total of 48.5. You got a Lions team that's going to be without Montgomery. You got a Lions team that has been throwing it well. And one player that hasn't been great this year for the Lions has been Laporta, but I think he's a tremendous talent, and I think this is a tremendous matchup for him. I also think Goff needs to use him underneath, over the middle. Goff doesn't have that laser arm when you get in cold weather situations like Soldier Field is, so I don't think we're going to see him attacking like Jameson down the field or Amon-Ra down the field. I think we're going to see a lot of Laporta in the intermediate middle area. Chicago plays a lot of zone. I think this is a good spot for Goff to hit Laporta. Give me Laporta over 41.5 receiving yards. Next prop, we got Jerry Jeudy under 62.5 receiving yards. Jerry Jeudy has been awesome this year. But no Jameis Winston, no fun. He's got DTR throwing him the ball. Like, if you wanted to bet over Jerry Jeudy receptions, I would be fine with that. I think we're going to see 3 or 4 quick screens, quick slants to him. But outside of that, I just can't see anything going down the field. I started this video off talking about DTR for a reason. And unfortunately, Jerry Jeudy can't throw himself the football, even against a Bengals secondary that is ripe for the picking. I'm going under the 62.5 for Jerry Jeudy. Next prop, I don't love this one, guys. I really don't, but I feel like we have to do it. Give me Aiden O'Connell over 242.5 passing yards. And you got a Jags defense. They've been fighting. They've been crawling. They've been scratching. And you got to give them credit. They haven't quit this year. But one problem with the Jags is we know the secondary, they're not good. They're not good on paper. But one thing that is supposed to be good on paper for the Jags is this defensive line. You got Walker. You got Hines Allen. But they can't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and we know the Raiders can't run the rock, and the Jags play the run better than most teams. That's why I think this is going to turn into Aiden O'Connell chucking it 45 to 50 times. And when you got guys like Bowers, when you got Jacoby Myers, when you got a Raiders team that I think is going to fight to the death, I like Aiden O'Connell in this. I really like this, even though like Aiden O'Connell over 242.5 probably isn't great on the fundamental perspective. Here's another one. Not great on the fundamental perspective. Caleb Williams over 218.5 passing yards. Listen, we've been good this year, but maybe this is me feeling myself a little bit too much. Listen, hear me out. Okay, Joseph's not going to play this game. It looks like Branch might not play. There's other guys like Carlton Davis who's on IR. The Detroit Lions' whole defensive line is almost on IR, and Caleb Williams' issue is holding the ball too long, and then he just pretty much floats into sacks. It's not, the offensive line isn't as bad as the media says, but at a certain point, there has to be a breaking point in terms of injuries, in terms of talent. And the Bears still got good targets, and this is a passing league, and 218.5 is a really low number, especially when you're facing the second and third stringers of the Detroit Lions. I don't like betting the injury report, but give me Caleb Williams over 218.5 passing yards. Not a lot of science here, guys. It's just a value play. Last prop of the week, we got Tua under 33.5 for the longest completion. You understand what I'm saying? Like, longest completion is under 33.5 yards. And it's because we just haven't seen the explosiveness out of the Dolphins offense. They're under third string left tackle. They're not blocking well. They're getting the ball out really fast. And the 49ers defense has been a train wreck, but one thing they don't give up is big plays throughout the air. Like, there's a stat to prove it. They just don't give up a lot of chunk plays. They're going to make you work the ball down the field. And that's kind of what the Dolphins want to do. They want to get it out of his hand quick. Now, could like Achane or Tyreek Hill take a quick pass and take it 40, 50 yards? Yes, like there's explosive players. But I don't think we're going to see Tua throwing anything deep and connecting on anything deep. So I'm going under 33.5 on his longest completion. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. The best gambling show on the internet. One more prop before I go. Chase Brown over 74.5 rush yards. Listen, I was back and forth on this one, but I do think the Bengals get a lead. I do think they run it. I do think they protect Burrow. And listen, with the Broncos lost, the Bengals are playing for the playoffs. So you want to protect Burrow if you get a lead. You give the ball to Chase Brown. You melt the clock away. Hit the like button. Share the videos. The best gambling show on the internet. Thank you, guys.